Hello everyone and welcome to another Starcraft 2 cast. For this one, it's going to be a replay cast of mine against a Protoss opponent. He'll be spawning in the bottom left in the blue, and I'm the red in the top right. So right away I'm going to talk about this build I've been using recently. I like it on certain maps. It's okay on this one. It's especially good on Karos and Alexander, two of the new ladder maps, just because you can do a 4-base opener. On this map, I can only do a 3-base opener. And the idea is to rush out a Cyclone pretty quickly. So we're going to go Barracks first, and then a Gas. Now, this isn't the fastest possible factory when you go Gas after Barracks, but it does mean we get enough minerals to build a command center right away, which we'll be building right after the Barracks. The advantage of building a fast Cyclone is that the Cyclone is really good at killing early game units. Like anything, an Adept, a Zealot, a Stalker, they're all dead. An Oracle, it'll kill the Oracle. So against Proxy Gateway and against Oracle openers, you're pretty safe. And it, more than that, it forces your opponent back home. He's like, I can't be out on the map or I'm just going to lose that unit to a Cyclone. So once he knows that you have a Cyclone, he's probably not going to go anywhere outside of his, home shield battery until he gets either Blink or Warp Prism or Phoenix, because those are all ways to disable the lock-on ability of the Cyclone, either by picking up your own unit that's targeted, or blinking your own unit that's targeted, or picking up the Cyclone itself with the Phoenix. So Barracks after Command Center, and then building a Tech Lab right away. And then we're going to throw the factory on that Tech Lab, which I should be able to do now. Yes, there we are. Now, if you build the factory before the Tech Lab, it means you get the factory down like 10 seconds sooner, but this way I get to build it right on the Tech Lab, so that kind of evens it out a bit. And it leaves my barracks free to do other things. Having the barracks out front means it's great for vision if you have it out front of your base, because then you never have to worry about losing the lock-on because of vision. You can also do what I'm doing here and just kind of going proxy hunting. So we're going to see if there's a proxy Oracle being set up. We can see if there's shield batteries being set up over here in case of some sort of Void Ray cheese. So it's pretty good for that. At the same time, we're going to be building another command center. On most maps, I like to just build it right in position, because it's unlikely to get scouted. On this map, it's pretty close to walking paths, so I'm not going to put it in position. I'll just put it on the high ground. It's a very short float out, though, anyways. He did chrono a Stalker, it seems, and sent it across the map, so that's going to be out pretty soon, and it looks like he was able to pick off a worker. So that's a little annoying. But in a moment, we will have that Cyclone. And he's actually going to warp out. So he did see that there's a Tech Lab factory, so I'm sure he was ready ahead of time to do that warp. That does cost him a chrono boost, though. I'm not sure what that was about. Sending 3 probes and another Stalker across the map. Interesting. Yeah, so that does. It's like killing half a worker when you force him to warp home. So that's not bad. And we're going straight up to 4 command centers. Now, I usually like to build one of them on my wall. That way I can put my siege tank behind the wall, and it'll be good. This factory is building the 1 Cyclone, and then afterwards it's going to build nothing but siege tanks. Once I got my 4 command centers, I'm going to start taking more gas geysers. I'm going to add on more factories, and then eventually get my armory and my starport. So 2 or 3 factories. You want non-stop siege tank production, and then your other factories are for building widow mines. These 2 extra command centers are going to be for taking our 3rd as a planetary, and taking a planetary outside of our natural. You kind of want the planetary defending your entrance to your natural, but you also want it as close to your third as possible because you want to be able to defend both of these planetaries with siege tanks. We do have a lone immortal crossing the map. That's interesting. I guess if you got the siege tank, it probably would have made it worthwhile, especially if you got out alive. But that didn't work out for him quite as well as he hoped. Looks like I did cut the siege tank production. That's not as planned. Still kind of new to this build, especially using on this map. It's a little different, so I'm just kind of winging it a bit. It's not a build order tutorial. This is just going to be a game and commentating, and why not talk about the build at the start? But this is what I'm messing around with. Turret ring is important around this time. Typically, you want the Cyclone somewhere in your main base to catch a Warp Prism or an Oracle until you have this turret ring up. You also want turrets for your natural as well. At the same time, we have our two factories. They're going to be pumping out siege tanks and widow mines. Maybe a third factory is in line now. Armory, starport, there we go. And then any leftover minerals can get put into command centers. Getting the gas intake up to max. I'm missing one on this. That's okay. A little bit of a wall to help protect the siege tanks. At this point, the Cyclone is not too relevant. What I like to do is actually send it around the edges of the map, kind of looking for proxy pylons, random probes, clearing watchtowers, things like that, until it dies off. He was pretty greedy himself, so he has had a worker lead the entire game, as well as a third that's as fast or faster than mine. But I do have double mules, so that makes up for his lead and keeps us in a pretty much even state. Once the armory is done, you can start your structure, your ship plating upgrades, and get drilling claws. Also, when you start adding on starports, you gotta remember to get your engineering bay upgrades. I forget it so often. I queued up both of them because they're actually super important if you face carrier, which is a a pretty standard counter to mech. Maybe a little less so these days. The Tempest, I think, has been buffed for the most part because it's faster and cheaper and less supply, and it does the same DPS as it used to with the same range. And the only downside being that it has less hit points. And hit points aren't that important with Tempest if you're using them correctly, because the whole point of the Tempest is not to tank damage, but to be firing from outside of range. I think he found out about that the hard way. I do not have drilling claws done yet. I think I just finished drilling claws actually. So from this point forward, my widow mines will remain cloaked after they fire. But for those couple engagements of the watchtowers, they did expose themselves. Yeah, let's get that production tab back up. So getting my Raven upgrades, ship plating, starting the Raven production, adding on more starports, still making all these widow mines. Establishing more of the map. I like to get widow mines out on the map, blocking potential expansions. If nothing else, that gives me information on when he'll be expanding next. If it has watchtowers, it's good to put one on each watchtower. And we got some extras here, so they will just sit him out in this main area, see if I can catch something. Any base that doesn't have any detection, it's always good to try to throw widow mines in there. This is what happens when an army has a mobile detector. This is why I only spread widow mines all over the map against Terran, because Protoss and Zerg always just have an overseer or an observer with their army. Terran does not put a Raven with their army. So continue to get that Raven count up. I guess I could start harassing with it. I'd have to scan a little bit to see where he's at. Obviously, all my extra minerals, this should really be spent on orbitals right now, or more command centers. You can use those command centers to float to take bases, but also orbitals is fairly handy in this matchup. Like some random missile turrets on the map. I like to put missile turrets anywhere that won't get easily spotted. And that way they're nice at catching observers. And sometimes they give detection to widow mines you have on the map, so the widow mines will pop observers too. So like if an observer goes to the middle here, it'll get spotted by one of these two missile turrets and then get popped by the widow mine. Looks like he has a lot of Immortals and Tempests, which is a difficult composition. The Immortals make my planetaries pretty pathetic, and where Tempests don't do a lot of damage, there's no real answer to Tempest like there was to carriers. Like I had that set up where I put a bunch of missile turrets behind my planetaries and some widow mines, and it pops all the interceptors, and then you can repair the planetary and everything just works out. Tempest will just slowly cut through everything. The good thing is the word is slowly. The bad news is it's cutting through everything. So looks like we're going to go with the counterattack for the Ravens. Try to cut his economy down. The widow mines are pretty neutral. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're useless. But when you're getting nailed and you have minerals, it's never a bad thing to just keep breaking widow mines. So this is a style I've actually seen enough that I feel it's worth mentioning. It's where the Protoss goes up to like 4 or 5 bases and just hunkers down. Just starts building tons of stack defense and a lot of Tempests. And I guess the idea is you can't really push into the stack defense, and the Tempests give you that range to push away any attack and trade super efficiently. He was able to take out that planetary in front of my Nat, but he lost almost all of his Immortals, which is nice. He's adding carriers to the mix now. We don't have a planetary at the front anymore, but we do have enough widow mines that we're giving his carriers trouble here. Even killing one. So that's kind of neat. So now we can start adding lots of missile turrets at each base. Get those command centers going. I do have a couple extra orbitals, and we got 6 command centers ready to do whatever with. We were able to take out this base, so putting a couple widow mines there to try to keep it denied. So it is a good idea to get a planetary up here again. Now we see retake this space. Without a planetary here, it is vulnerable to him just walking into my main. Sometimes scan to see if I can get lucky with his observer being too far forward. Didn't quite work out there. But knowing where his army is, I am able to attack another forward base, but that's so many cannons. So we actually trade Ravens for cannons, which isn't good, I guess, but you gotta get some use out of these Ravens, otherwise they're just floating around for no reason. So at least next time I go attack that base, he may have no cannons or less cannons. Oops, forgot to burrow those. But we are getting up missile turrets, and looks like they'll be just in time. He still has one immortal left. Get the repair going. I realize some of those widow mines aren't burrowed, so we'll burrow those now. My ravens are low, but I noticed that he warped away half of his army, so I thought maybe there'll be an opportunity here to pick off what's left. But I kind of got sandwiched between his two armies now, and yeah, not the greatest fight. Just to get something killed, I focused the Oracle. So that kind of reset my Raven count. We were back to 8. I guess we just had a wave pop out, so that's good. I forgot to get +3. It's pretty important. I played a TvT the other day where my opponent caught up and surpassed me on ship plating upgrades. And I always wonder how people mentally know to start the next upgrade as soon as the previous one finishes. If it's the audio warning or how they do it, but it'd be a nice skill to have. They can start +2 immediately after +1 and start +3 immediately after the +2. So again, getting that nice anti-carrier setup. Widow mines behind the planetary, missile turrets behind that, and with structure armor and high-sec auto tracking, all the missile turrets can fire, and structure armor keeps the carriers from being able to kill a planetary through repair. This is where killing all those immortals earlier on came in handy, because without being able to kill a PF, everything behind that is really very good at slaughtering the carriers. Nice little catch there, got a bunch of probes, forced to cancel on this, killed the mothership. Now, this is not a planetary, so the carriers I think will naturally go after the siege tanks or the missile turrets, but again, his interceptor count is so tiny that it's not that scary. He's at 7 interceptors even though he has 11 carriers, so. And only 2 Tempests left. Some of those times I probably could have engaged right into him. We were able to kill his 4th again though, and got a Widow Mine blocking him, so that's nice. We got his economy very devastated. You can see his mineral income is actually at, or his mineral bank is at 0. He's spending it on interceptors faster than it's coming in, because he's only got 4 active, well I guess 5 active mineral patches. Wait for an attack yet again. Looks like he's warping in there, so I'm going to commit a little bit and get a bunch of interceptors down before he warps in. And we'll see what we can do in terms of carriers. Looks like we're able to pick off 2 of them. Yeah, just the 2. But we did a whole bunch of hull damage to this guy, which is meaningful. I always hate attacks where you only take out shields. It seems so pointless, because it'll just come right back immediately afterwards. Got some distance mining here, which may or may not get hit by this Widow Mine, but I guess he's afraid of the one Widow Mine and put all of his probes back. That's not good. Even stop mining from this mineral patch. So we are getting beaten up on defense, but we're keeping up the expansions. We got a whole ton of mule income, which is nice. So we're staying way ahead on the ability to build units. Again, interceptor count down to 0, and he's just going to leave with no mineral income. This is something really interesting I noticed in the game. This is a weird bug. So there's a gap here for these 2 SCVs to get out. But since they are kind of on top of each other from mineral walking, now they're blocking each other. It's like 2 people trying to get through a doorway at the same time. So they're struggling, can't get out. It's not until I grab them and manually mineral walk And then I can A move with them to repair. If you're in a spot like this, try to grab the missile turrets and focus down the observers. Oftentimes this happens where the observer ends up out front. Not only does that expose your Widow Mines to possibly getting killed in the A move, but anytime you can kill an observer, it just makes your Widow Mines out on the map that much stronger. The ones you have blocking expansions and stuff. Another carrier down to 30 hit points. Man, he's got 3 carriers at 50 hit points or less. However, sometimes I wonder whether even if killing a carrier is even a good thing when I'm doing this style. Because really the carriers are my win condition. Carriers drain his mineral bank and that's what wins me the game. So if I kill his carriers, then nothing's draining his mineral bank and he can actually rebuild. That's a whole lot of inactive workers. I'm not even sure if this Widow Mine, like if you clicks on these mineral patches, I'm not even sure if this Widow Mine would kill this mining path. Maybe anything that goes after this mineral. Widow Mines and choke points randomly on the map is a good idea too. It'll kill those probes that get sent out to scout or set up pylons. It'll kill zealots that happen to be running by. Last patch, killing zealots that are running by wasn't a good thing because, you know, say you had a zealot run by coming this way. It kills a zealot, it immediately exposes itself and gets killed. And I'm like, okay, I just lost 25 gas to kill a mineral-only unit. That's not good. But nowadays, the zealots will just run straight by. He'll lose one, get the other ones injured, and then the Widow Mine will survive for the next wave of zealots, unless for some reason there's an observer with those zealots. But yeah, I've definitely seen this a lot. I'm not sure if I'm just playing the same Protoss opponents a lot, but this is extremely weird from a Protoss opponent to be doing this. And I think it's just kind of like a turtle mech style. Only with Protoss, and it can really take advantage of the Tempests. Because the Tempests are so much cheaper than they used to be, but have the same DPS, and they're less supply, so when you max out, you can make a lot more Tempests. For every 3 Tempests you used to have, now you can have 4 Tempests instead, for the same supply cost. And I think that's what this would be for. Because say you got like a bio-tank army out here, you just start shooting out with Tempests. And what is he going to do? Charge forward and try to kill a Tempest? Well, then you're charging forward into like 12 cannons and shield batteries. So good luck with that. So you can just like hang out with your Tempest here, for instance, at the start of the game. And then with these 2 defensive setups and a high ground area, it's going to be really hard for him to punish you. He's going double forge as well, so I don't know. But I guess the other one's just for shields. I mean, it's definitely not a pure Tempest build. He's just building Immortals. And this is more than just, you know, the standard amount of Immortals to stay alive. This is a lot of Immortals. So this, it seems like it has aggression in its thought process. But, yeah, this mass cannon thing. Shield batteries, I think, are weaker. 150, 150. I guess they used to be 200 to 200. Or maybe they didn't end up getting nerfed. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they got nerfed though. It definitely wasn't the recharge rate. They still are just as effective as before. I think they're just weaker. Maybe they used to have 400 hit points, now they have 300. I do like to get some widow mines out on the map, you know, blocking pathways, blocking watchtowers, and just random places, just because it is handy to know where he's attacking and to be able to get set up in time. Somewhere like here and here might be a good place for missile turrets too. I think like this is like the main walking path along here, and this is a main walking path through here. Very rarely do they go through the middle. Sometimes they do, but only if they've taken out these rocks already. So I think anywhere you put a missile turret that's not on these two attack lines and it's not visible from these two watchtowers, then it's probably a good place for a missile turret. Just like the widow mine, it can give you a vision out on the map of where he is attacking from. But it's also good at giving detection to your widow mines and possibly killing observers on their own. Yeah, anyways, that will call it the end of this video. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'm out of here. Goodbye.